Wanted to talk today about your first paralegal. I say this often that you have to be fussy. And what does that mean? Well, I want you to be fussy about the law firm you go into, that they are kind. It won't be utopia, I can promise you that. No workplace is. And if you've been out in the work world, you know what I mean. But I want you to do your homework as much as possible so that you understand what type of people are in the law firm you're going into. Don't ever put it up on a pedestal, because that's when you set yourself up for that fall. And it's not the job that ends up on the pedestal falling off, it's you. So I want you to do all your homework, to check out what they're about, and to protect you. The first thing, though, is making sure that this is the right career for you. Now, as I've said before, you may have to go into it to find that out. But if you read a lot and you research a lot about this career, if you've purchased my book, Legal Break-In, that gives you that insider's view, then if you love it, you love it. If you don't, you'll find out. And sometimes, though, I had no book to look at. There was no book available that back then that talked about what a paralegal does with the practical side included in it. And I include things about what area of law fits your personality, the foundation skills you have to have. I kind of knew that already about the foundation skills. I assumed it, but I had no knowledge about anything else. And a book would have been helpful, and a short course would have been helpful. That's why I offer the Paralegal Inner Circle class. Okay, so that's launching in about 4 days, five days, on January 5th. So be sure that you look in a previous video, go in the description box, click on the link for the Paralegal Inner Circle class, and you'll see more info there. I wanted to make sure that I was being real about, did I like this or not? Did I see myself traversing through this career for many years? And the answer was yes. As long as, because I started out at a very low salary many years ago, as long as I could trade up on my knowledge I was gaining and get more money, which I did. So that took a bulldog mentality on my part, and it will on yours too, that you can't wait for in, but you can't gripe about it if you don't get much of a raise, that, and whine about it. You can take measures to get a better paying job. Now, of course, if you live in a small town, teeny tiny town like I did in Oklahoma, I had to travel 40 miles one way to go into Tulsa to get a job that paid better. And there were no jobs open in my neck of the woods, in my little area, because this was a place where people got jobs because of connection in that little town. In Tulsa, it was very wide open. And, it was it's a metropolitan area, it really is. So be the authentic you. Be real with yourself. Do you like what you're reading about this career? Don't go after it just for the money. Don't do that. If you're hesitating constantly to, if you're not researching about this job, then ask yourself, why not? If you're not willing to do some things to give you more knowledge about the job, then why aren't you? So if it is just about the money, and don't look at the average salary of the paralegal on Google. That's bogus. They put everybody's salary together, and very experienced into that figuring, that averaging out, and it's not realistic. So don't look at that. Ask me and out to all the they want and what you're bringing to the table in terms of skill. You notice I'm not saying experience. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things you need to to check about yourself. Let me find my little list here. I will always talk about that God has a plan and a purpose for you. The honestly, the fun of it can be frustrating too, is to find out what that path and purpose is. And then once you find it, it's on you. And you give it to him and say, Lord, just show me like what law firm you want me to go to, or whatever career it is. Show me, Lord, where you want me to work. Ask him to show you. Surrender to that. And then take responsibility for your choices. Don't blame other people for your choices. It's time to put the big girl, big boy pants on and take responsibility for the choices that you make. I mean, I made a choice 40 plus years ago, and I became a single mom. And that was because of a choice. And I have a gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful daughter and grandson. But there are choices that you make, and that's on you. Okay? And so when I made a choice to go into legal, that was on me. And I had to find out if that was supposed to be my path or not, and it was. So choose your attitude every day. I don't come out of the gate like a positive Pollyanna. I'm not, trying to spew positivity all the time, but I'm trying to spew gratefulness. That I'm grateful that I have air to breathe and simple things, bringing it down to simplicity to be grateful for. You've got a lot of things to prove yet before you're paid big bucks. So buckle up and hang on for the ride and learn a lot. And that should really separate people when I tell them that, as to whether this career is for them or not. Because if you're going into it for the wrong reasons, it simply will not work. All right, and then be careful about who you spend time with. Be choosy. As I told you before, I went into a law firm and everybody was in Gossip Central in the law library. And honestly, I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want to be seen as somebody who hangs out with people who are just being disrespectful and gossiping. That was the sole purpose of eating lunch together in the law library. So I just went on my way and met with friends, other paralegals outside of work. No, that did not sit well with my coworkers, but oh well. I'm intentional. I'm adamant about who I spend my time with. And if friendships are interesting, right, it has to be a two-way street. Be careful about all of that, not especially personally and in the workplace. And be fussy about going after or where you end up working, as I've said before. Make sure it's good for you. And then stop expecting people to change who won't. If you go, you can see that in your own family or with your friends. But if you go into a workplace and you get a vibe during the interview that this attorney is ultra snarky, ultra sarcastic, that's not going to change. That attorney's not going to change. If they show those colors, they will do that while you're there and to you. So try to ask questions to keep that conversation going, to try to show some body language so you understand who you're dealing with. Got it? All right. So here's a couple things to think about. The last time you climbed out of a bad mood, what were the actions that you took to get out of it? Me, I've got a head cold coming on, but I'm going to fight this thing off. And I would not let it stop me from doing a video for you all today. And so what is it? How do you get yourself out of that? For me, I mean, I'm at the house today and I'm hanging out with the hubby and the dogs, and then I'm going to go do a video. So it's actually uplifting when you're not, I wasn't feeling that great. But what do you do to get yourself out of it? Me, I'm having some sweet tea. And so, and Have you seen your attitude affect the outcome of a situation? I've seen it in the law firm where somebody was struggling with that a project that I described in another video, and they weren't seeing a solution. And honestly, it's easier when you come from outside of it, and then you go and you look at it and you see what they're trying to do, and then you go, it might seem simplistic, my solution, but when you're in the throes of a project, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. So the solution, I gave them the solution, and somebody else actually saw it through and did it. And the my attitude was, I would like to go home before 9 o'clock tonight, and I never had to stay past 5:30. So I really was quite, I wanted my time to myself. And so we all got to go home at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And that worked out great. Otherwise, it was going to be a long night to fix what we had to do. But the attitude was, let's solve this instead of doing it in a way that doesn't make sense. But if I went in there and I said, why are you doing it that way, and was demeaning to everybody there, my fellow co-workers, what good would that have done? What good would that have done? Because I made some boner moves myself, and mistakes and errors in judgment. And it's nice when somebody doesn't try to rub your nose in it, right? So the attitude has to, for me, more than, I think my attitude towards procrastination has to shift in 2019, and I have to procrastinate less. How about you? What are you looking? I don't make resolutions. They're just some things I want to tweak and get better at. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for hanging with me during this video, this live video. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great New Year's Eve tonight and New Year's Day tomorrow. And I'll probably be on tomorrow as well. But I'm hoping that you all have a fabulous, prosperous, satisfying 2019, truly. So take care. Love you all. And let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I will answer you. Take care. Bye.